Hi, this is Jessica with Gerber Treasures, and today I'm going to be going through a tutorial of the simple monthly budget spreadsheet on Google Sheets. If you haven't purchased this yet, you can find it on my Etsy shop, which I will link in the description. So when you first get your link, you're going to copy and paste the URL into your browser, and this page will pop up, and you're going to click Make a Copy. And that will bring you to the spreadsheet homepage. Um, so the first thing in the homepage, there are two tabs, the budget tab and the expense tracker. The first thing we are going to do is work on our monthly income. So you can use the drop down arrow and select the month that you're on. So right now we're on April. And then you're going to type in your projected income. You're going to leave actual blank for now until you actually receive those funds, and then you'll type in the actual amount. So it may be like, something like that, but we'll leave that blank for now, just assuming it's the beginning of the month. And then if you scroll down, you'll have your projected remaining balance. And this is something you want to keep an eye on while you're filling out the rest of the spreadsheet. This will show you how much you have left in your projected budget to work with. So the next thing we're going to do is work on our bills. And these are everything that has a fixed amount and a specific due date. Like, for example, your rent or your mortgage. Your utilities could go in here as well. Those amounts do kind of change, but there is a fixed due date. And I'm just putting in random numbers and dates just for kind of a good walkthrough. And then once you pay these amounts, you will type that into the actual, and then you can check them off. So after our bills, well, actually first, now you can see that our projected remaining balance has gone down from 3,700 to 2,500. So that's how much we still have left to work in our budget. And we want to, the reason why we did the bills first is because those obviously have the highest priority. Those are the things that we cannot change the amount. We can't kind of budget more or less. They need to be paid a fixed amount. And so the next thing after that is our debts. And those are very similar to our bills, except we are working towards an end goal. So, for example, student loans, you pay a fixed amount each month, but you're working towards that zero goal. So I'll just type in a couple of examples. And again, when you pay those off, you type in the actual amount paid, and then you can check them off. And so for your debts, you always try and pay a little bit more than than the minimum payment. So we'll just assume that this is my minimum payment. Let's say I just did. And then we would check them off. So after our bills and our debts are put in, we're going to go back and check our remaining balance. And the next thing we're going to go and do is our expenses. And the expenses are things you pay for every month that change. So for example, groceries, gas, shopping, getting your nails done, things like that. And then we're going to go back over and check our remaining balance, and we still have a bit left. So then we want to come back over to our savings and put some of that remaining balance in here. And we check our remaining balance. I typically do like to keep a bit left in the remaining balance just because things pop up here and there. Nothing is perfect, so you want to make sure you have a little bit of a buffer. I apologize for the background noise. I have kids. So something to keep note of is the descriptions that you choose for your expense category. Those are going to be automatically prompted in the expense tracker for your categories. So, and with that being said, we're moving over to the expense tracker now. And this is where you type in your daily transactions. So, let's say I spent $60 on gas today. So this will automatically create a pivot table which summarizes every single one of the categories and the totals. And then if we go back to the budget tab, it automatically populates that amount into our actual amount spent for that category. And we'll just add a couple more lines. And let's say on the 5th, I ordered takeout for $15. I don't have that category listed here. So that means I need to make a budget category for that. So I'm going to go back to the budget in the expenses summary, and I'm going to write in takeout. And that means I need to set a budget for myself for my monthly expenses in that category. So once I've done that, I can go back to the expense tracker. Takeout will now be an option, and everything will be summarized over on the pivot table. And if you'll notice, I had 2 gas transactions, and the pivot table summarized both of those together. There we go. 60 and 25 for 85. So this gives you an overall breakdown of how much you spent total on each category for the entire month. And then if we go back over to the budget tab, it lists out our entire projected remaining, or our actual balance, how much we actually spent in each category. And we can compare what we've spent so far versus how much we projected. So you can know, if it's towards the middle of the month and you're getting close to that projected amount, then maybe you need to, slow down on the takeout or something like that. And that's it. And then the tables up at the top are very good visual references for seeing how an actual breakdown of your spending habits. So we'll just fill out the rest of this. So this shows my projected income versus my actual, and it ended up being even. And then we'll just type in the actual amount spent. Let's say we did 350 and 250 and 200 and 325. And so this breaks down our actual spending habits. So we spent 44.2% of our income on bills, 19.3% on debt, 22 on savings, and 14.4 on expenses. That's pretty low because we obviously only put in a couple of expenses. And then the last table, or the last graph, shows our budget versus our actual. So this shows that our budgeted amount was over, our total budget was over our actual spending. And again, that's because we really didn't input too many expenses. But for other things like our savings, we saved more than we thought we would, so that's good. Our bills were on target, that's always good as well. And our debt was, we paid just a little bit more than what we thought, and that's always good as well. And that is it. Another thing that I personally do and I recommend is, so say you're getting to the end of the month or it's the last day of the month and you're ready to start budgeting for the next month, what I would do is copy these tabs and rename them. So let's say it's the last day of April. I'm going to right click on budget, click duplicate, and then we're going to have a copy of budget, and I'm going to rename that April budget. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the expense tracker. Right click, click duplicate, double click to rename it. And then I'm going to move this one over here just so I can have those two next to each other. And then I go back to the original, and then we're ready to start over. And then you would delete everything out. And project your May expenses. And this is always good to look back on, because then we can see things that we spent more on that we maybe need to re-budget that amount, or things that we spent less. So for example, let's say I really did only spend $250 on groceries this month. Then maybe I would decrease my projected budget for that category next month. So I would go into budget and then groceries, and then maybe I would do 400. And don't forget to go into the expense tracker and delete all of those out as well. And that is it. So you can see our tabs here at the bottom, and you can keep each month duplicating those, and then maybe at the end of the year you can do a save as of the spreadsheet, or make a copy of the spreadsheet entirely, and save this one as 2022 and make the new one for 2021, and use this one to look back on for whatever reason, tax purposes maybe. Yeah, so that's it. If you have not purchased the spreadsheet yet, you can do so on my Etsy shop. The name is Gerber Treasures. I will link it in the description. Please message me on Etsy or send me an email If you have any questions at all, I'm more than happy to help. Thanks.